Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's your boy Chris. It's your boy Chris. It's another amazing episode of Financipation. This channel is all about making money. It's all about saving money. It's all about building generational wealth. And it's all about financially emancipating yourself from generational poverty. On this channel, everybody, I give you a six-figure MBA level worth of investing and financial advice for free here on YouTube. And the things that people typically spend literally hundreds of thousands of dollars or whatever to learn in business school, I give it to you for free on this channel. So today, everybody, we're going to talk about a person who's essentially financially illiterate. And it's like this. I talk a lot about building generational wealth on this channel. It's actually one of the main things that I talk about because to me, individuals who build generational wealth, that's essentially where I would like a lot more of us as Americans and as human beings, I would like a lot more of us to go in general. And it is literally impossible to build generational wealth if you are financially incompetent. It is literally impossible to build generational wealth if you are financially illiterate. And today in this particular podcast, that's what we're going to talk about. 16 signs of a financially illiterate person. Sign number one, financially illiterate people, they don't save anything. At the end of the day, people, it's like this. I don't care how much money you make, and I don't particularly care even what your profession is. If you spend more money than you make, you are not going to be, you are not going to retire with dignity, and you are a financially illiterate person. Every year, this is the type of person who leases a brand new car. This is the type of person who's typically more interested or whatever in looking like they actually have money than actually having it. And this is typically the type of person who buys the newest iPhone, the newest pair of Jordans, the newest pair of cowboy boots or whatever. This is the type of person who essentially loves buying certain gadgets or whatever. And as I said earlier, they're more interested in looking like they actually have money than actually having it. One surefire sign of a financially illiterate person is that they don't save anything. Next. Financially illiterate people, they use payday loans and cash advance places on a regular basis. Have you ever noticed that you never see like cash advance places or payday loan kind of spots or whatever in nice areas? Have you ever noticed that when you go into the hood, you constantly see liquor stores, cash advance places, and payday loan spots or whatever? In my opinion, I'm gonna be completely honest with you, payday loans and cash advance places, those are the scummiest of the scum type of establishments here in the United States of America. They're the absolute scum of the earth, in my opinion, because these people literally create businesses that are designed to keep poor people impoverished or whatever. They are literally created to keep you in financial enslavement. So I'll give you an example. I have walked into, just for craps and giggles, I've walked into some cash advance places in cities like Philadelphia and cities like Miami and cities like DC or whatever, just to kind of take a look at what some of their interest rates are or whatever. So this is pretty much how they work. These are essential legal loan sharks that will lend a very poor person $500 into for 2 weeks or whatever. And if you don't pay that $500 back or whatever, the interest rates that they charge these same people are sometimes between 40 to 65%. To give you any indication about how expensive that is, the stock market on average only averages about 8%. So essentially, these scummy, disgusting businesses, their model is to essentially lend poor people money who they know most likely can't pay it back at interest rates that are literally 8 to 10 times higher than the stock market. My advice, people, is simple. Avoid these places at literally all costs. And one surefire sign of a financially illiterate person is a person who uses payday loan spots and cash advance places and they don't have a bank account. People, I'm telling you, avoid these places at literally all costs. They are the absolute scum of the earth, in my opinion. Next, financially illiterate people are broke before every paycheck. All right, this one is pretty self-explanatory, and I know from my listeners, we've all have seen this individual before, okay? You've seen the family member that every month say, hey man, let me hold something. You've seen that teammate that you have that every month says, hey bro, let me hold something. You've seen that family friend, you've seen that person that you hoop with, you've seen that person you lift weights with, you've seen that person you even to some extent work with. Every other month, they're essentially asking you to loan them some money because they basically had not gotten paid yet. These folks constantly need someone to bail them out every other month. And they have to either rely on their mommy, their girlfriend, their boyfriend, or you, basically to take care of and support them. It's really sad. And one surefire sign of a financially illiterate person is that they always need a family member, a friend, or the federal government, or some sorry, pathetic excuse for a boyfriend or girlfriend to essentially lend them money until they get paid again. And it's very sad. Next. Financially illiterate people have no idea what their credit score is. So I'm gonna keep it real, everybody. Banks typically don't give loans unless you provide a credit score. And I tell all my listeners, you need to have a credit score of at least 725 or up. That's kind of what I push or whatever. Anything below 550, anything below 600, pretty much you're gonna get laughed at. Something else I love about a high credit score is that it gives people one less reason to discriminate against you, particularly if you are a minority. And it makes it that much easier or whatever to prepare for the financial absolutes that I'm going to talk about later in this video. Now, I do realize that there's this extremely popular gentleman out in Tennessee. He says you should not use credit cards and that credit scores are irrelevant and stuff like that. Guys, I'll be completely honest, ignore that gentleman's advice, particularly on this particular subject, because at the end of the day, you need to have a credit score. You need to have a high credit score. If you get a credit card, you need to pay it off every month or whatever. And you need to essentially make sure that your credit score is very good, because once again, when you start getting to the financial absolutes that come with capitalism, home ownership, business loans, and things of that nature, you had better have a good credit score, okay? Because it's going to lower the amount of interest rates that you have to pay. One surefire sign of a financially illiterate person is that they don't know what their credit score is. Next, financially illiterate people, they don't have a budget. So this is also another one that's very self-explanatory, because if you have literally no idea how much money you're spending on something and you have absolutely no idea where your money is going, you are literally going to constantly stay broke, because not only do you not know what you're spending your money on, more importantly, you don't know where you can save so you can start investing the money that you don't spend. So financially illiterate people, they have literally no idea how much money they make every month. And once again, they also have literally no idea where they can save the money that they spend. Full disclosure, everybody, I have a free Financipation budget below that I'm going to email you. Simply click on the link below or whatever, and you're going to get a link. Once you provide me with the email, I will email you for free my free Financipation budget. And one surefire sign that I have noticed among anybody who I basically do my research with, or anybody that calls me, I do a one-on-one session with them, is this. The first question I ask them is, do you have a budget? If a person says that they do not have a budget, that is the first thing we work on. Why? Because financially illiterate people don't have a budget. That is the one caveat I have noticed among anybody when they come to me for our one-on-ones. Next, financially illiterate people, they don't invest anything. They don't have a 401k. They don't have an HSA account. They don't have a Roth IRA. They don't have stocks. They don't have bonds. They don't invest in anything. Financially illiterate people do not invest in anything. And that is why they stay broke. Every day, people, that you invest, that is one less day that you have to get up and go to work for somebody else. Let me say that again. Every day that you invest, that is one less day that you have to get up and go to work for somebody else. Poor people, unfortunately, were taught that investing is for rich people. That's wrong. Poor people, unfortunately, were taught that investing is for smart people. That's also wrong. Investing, everybody, is for everyone. So imagine you invest $40 every month at a 10% interest rate. In 40 years, you would have $65,000 pretty much in this account. And the thing that's crazy about it is if you do invest actually $40 every month for 40 years, you would have put in less than $20,000. That's the laws of compound interest, people. That's the laws of investing. Basically, people, invest in things that you understand. One of the issues I see with investing is a lot of times people will show up and they have this extremely complicated method, this reincarnation method to get into crypto or whatever. They have this extremely complicated thing about how you should invest in whatever's and things of this nature. And one of the biggest issues that people have with investing is that a lot of times they don't understand what they're actually investing in. Full disclosure, people, if you do not know how to invest, you have no idea what of the 40 or the 45 to 5,000 stocks that are available on the stock exchange here in the United States. If you have literally no idea where to start, how to invest, I have the perfect idea for you, okay? I'm going to be dropping an e-product masterclass very soon on how I invest and what returns I historically get with the investments that I make. And that program is going to actually walk you through how to go about building your generational wealth. And that link is going to be coming soon. One surefire sign, people, of a financially illiterate person is that they do not invest anything. Next, financially illiterate people, they take toxic loans because of some of the bad choices that they made. Remember how I brought up that credit score situation a little earlier? Remember how I brought up basically those disgusting cash advance and payday advance type loans or whatever? The reason why people need to do that is because they make very bad choices earlier in the month or early in the year as far as what they spend their money on. So as a result, they're stuck basically getting bad loans. The worse your credit score is, people, the higher your interest rates are going to be when you need to take out a loan on a house, on a car, or on a business. There are some items, people, that you are literally going to have to take out loans for the most part. And the better your credit score is, the lower your interest rates are going to be. The worse your credit score is, the higher your interest rates are going to be. So in other words, people, you need to have a very good credit score. So if your credit, once again, is about 500 or whatever, good luck, because when you get your kind of loans, they're going to be extremely high. If your credit score is 790 or above, when you basically have to take out a loan for something, you're going to get a lot more benefits, and your interest rates will be a lot lower. One surefire sign of a financially illiterate person is that they have terrible credit, and they're therefore forced to take out extremely high toxic loans. Next, financially illiterate people don't know the difference between wealth and income. I talk about generational wealth on this channel, people, and there's a reason why I specifically use the word generational wealth and I don't say getting rich. There's a reason why I talk about building a lasting empire that's built essentially on rock, and I don't talk about making a lot of money. Rich people is temporary, whereas wealth, it lasts more than 2 or 3 generations. High incomes can change literally the day you get fired if you lose your job, whereas wealth, it continues to grow regardless of what happens. I will say this, however, having a high income does not necessarily mean that you're wealthy. And conversely, having a low income does not necessarily mean that you are poor. For instance, I've done consultations and done one-on-ones with teachers that make $50,000 a year and they're 45 years old. And this teacher that makes $50,000 a year at 45 has more wealth than a lawyer that's the same age that makes $140,000 a year. And the reason is simple. If you make $50,000 a year and you live on $25,000 and you invest the other $25,000, you are doing significantly better than a lawyer that makes $150,000 a year, but they spend $160,000 every year. For instance, professional baseball players, professional hockey players, the average professional athlete that plays these 2 sports is broke within 7 years after they retire, even though they made millions of dollars pretty much per year playing this sport. So once again, people, it has nothing to do with how much money you make. It has to do with how much money you save. Wealth, people, is built slowly. You need to invest wisely. You need to save your money. You need to save more money than you spend, and you need to avoid financial gimmicks that you do not understand. One surefire sign of a financially illiterate person is they don't know the difference between wealth and income. Before I go any further, everybody, please like, please comment, please subscribe. It helps the algorithm, and I thoroughly enjoy giving you guys free content, okay? Next, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. Financially illiterate people don't have health insurance. They don't have life insurance. They don't have insurance, period. Insurance is one of those kind of really funny things, everybody, because every month when I pay my insurance, I ain't gonna lie, it kind of ticks me off because I'm like, okay, why am I spending this much money on something that I'm never gonna use? But I will say this, the second your wife gets pregnant, the second you get very sick, the second you need surgery, or the second you have a very bad car accident, you had better have insurance. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have insurance and a serious financial issue hits you, a serious health issue hits you, or a serious lifetime issue hits you, and you don't have insurance, you could very, very easily be filing for medical bankruptcy or for filing for bankruptcy, period. Not having the right type of insurance policy can literally cost you millions of dollars. And because most of my listeners are here in America, we all pretty much know how this works. In America, it does not matter pretty much how wealthy you are or how much money you make. In the United States of America, unfortunately, because of where our healthcare system is set up, most Americans are essentially 1 or 2 medical emergencies away from bankruptcy. That's just the way it is. If you get diagnosed with cancer or whatever, if you have a serious medical issue, there's a very good chance that your medical bills can be in the tens of millions of dollars. And if you do not have the proper type of insurance, you can kiss the money that you spent your entire life building goodbye. One surefire sign of a financially illiterate person is that they do not have insurance. Next, financially illiterate people, they pay their bills very late. Back in the day, the old folks used to say, sometimes you got to rob Peter to pay Paul. What they didn't tell you is that when you rob Peter to pay Paul, sometimes Peter comes back at you with interest. Not paying your bills on time usually means that you get hit with late fees. And by doing this, that snowball gets bigger and bigger, and you end up spending more money in the long haul. Remember how I talked about getting involved with toxic loans? One reason why a lot of people get stuck having to get toxic loans is because they don't pay a bill when they were supposed to, and they get hit with the bill much later in life. They don't fix a cavity when they're supposed to. So as a result, they get hit with a root canal down the road or whatever. It's a ripple effect that essentially hurts your credit score, and more importantly, it hurts your finances. My advice, people, once again, is use my Financipation budget below. And the reason why I say that is because what I have found is that typically speaking, when people use budgets or whatever, a lot of times they know how much money they make, they know how much money they can spend, they know how much money they can save, and more importantly, they also know basically what bills are going to be coming due. So one surefire sign of a financially illiterate person is that they don't budget, and more importantly, they also get hit with exorbitantly high late fees because they don't pay their bills on time. Next, Financially illiterate people don't have an emergency fund. Everybody, I want you to go back and watch one of my previous videos where I talk about the benefits of having an emergency fund, okay? Because in that particular video, I literally go through all the respective reasons why you need to have an emergency fund, period. And without going into too much detail on this particular podcast or whatever, I'm just gonna say it to you like this. A fully stocked emergency fund, in my opinion, it means you can go 6 months without needing a job or without making a sale, period. So imagine you get fired. If you have a fully stocked emergency fund, you can friggin' leave and go to Costa Rica and chill on the beach or whatever in Alajuela for 6 months, just chilling, not having a job, not worrying about it. And more importantly, having a fully stocked emergency fund allows you to pretty much wait for the right job to come along, not the next job. It allows you to wait for the right business contract to come along and not just the next business contract, okay? One surefire sign of a financially illiterate person is that they don't have a fully stocked emergency fund. Next, financially illiterate people, they don't buy homes, and they unfortunately rent apartments their entire lives. Historically speaking, if you study the United States of America, one way, unfortunately, the racist elements of this country were able to keep minorities, blacks and Hispanics especially, poor was that they used racist Jim Crow laws that basically made it legal, perfectly legal for housing discrimination. And they also used extremely racist red line housing district laws to prevent blacks and Hispanic people from buying homes in areas that would appreciate in value. In other words, you had to rent apartments that were exorbitantly expensive your entire life, and you could never build meaningful wealth. It's kind of interesting because some of these red line laws or whatever were still in the books as late as the 1980s in major metropolitan cities. That is one reason why the percentage of blacks and Hispanics in America who own homes is significantly smaller than the percentage of white Americans who own homes today. Because some of these, once again, housing laws were literally on the books and still in the 1980s. I have sadly met people that have literally rented apartments for 45 to 50 years and they never bought property and they never bought homes. And what's really sad about these type of individuals is not only did they die penniless and broke or whatever, if they had bought a house and instead of paying rent, they were paying a mortgage, they would have been able to buy 2 homes literally over that entire 40 to 50 year period. It's very sad, actually. One surefire sign of a financially illiterate person is that they never buy a home and they essentially rent apartments their entire lives. Next, financially illiterate people, they do not have a will. I want you to go back and watch one of my previous videos where I talk about the benefits of having a will. And in that particular video, I go into all the details about the benefits that you get from having estate planning and having a will. One of the best ways essentially to see if a person is financially illiterate is to ask them straight up, do you have a will? Because if the answer is no, that means they are financially illiterate. If you don't have a will, the state and lawyers may take up to roughly 30 to 40% of your assets in taxes and legal fees. And what's also sad about it is the family members that you love, they're not going to basically get the property that you want. And the family members that you hate are probably going to get most of it. So in the United States of America today, only 45% of Americans actually have a will. So if you really, really, really hate your children, you hate your brothers and you hate your sister and you hate your family or whoever, then don't get a will. If you don't have a will, once again, the family members that you do not like are going to spend a lot of the money trying to get money that you're trying to give to family members who you actually do love. And the family members that you love are going to end up losing a lot of their money to family members that you don't like. So get a will, people. It's as simple as that. One surefire sign of a financially illiterate person is they don't have a will and they have absolutely no estate planning. Next, financially illiterate people, they don't properly plan for what I call the major financial absolutes that exist here in the United States of America. So most of my listeners that are listening to this, you guys reside in the United States. I do have some listeners in Europe, so love hearing from you guys. I do have listeners in Latin America. I do have some listeners in the Caribbean. So it's always a pleasure whenever you guys reach out to me or whatever, and I always try to respond. But for the most part, most of my listeners at this particular point, they're here in the United States of America. And in the United States of America, we have what I call financial absolutes. In other words, if you're like the rest of the other 90% of Americans, you are going to essentially have to take out a loan to get these financial absolutes. Financially illiterate people, they don't plan for college. They don't plan for retirement. They don't plan for funerals. They don't plan for vacations. They don't plan on buying a home. And they just spend money or whatever once it comes up. Whereas financially literate people, because they know these financial absolutes are coming up, they do things like have their kids apply for scholarships. They do things like invest in their 401k, their Roth IRA, their HSA, so when retirement comes, they can retire with dignity and respect. They do things like instead of basically putting instead of going on vacation or putting on credit cards, they basically save $200 every month or whatever. And then at the end of the year, they can go on that 2-week cruise in the Caribbean or whatever. So one surefire sign of a financially illiterate person is that they don't plan for anything. They don't plan for the financial absolutes like college, like buying a home, like healthcare costs, or retirement. Next, financially illiterate people pass up free 401k money. If you listen to this channel, people, you know I am a very big proponent of free money. Simple as that. And one of the freest types of money in the United States of America is investing in your employer's employee matched 401k account, period. Most employees in the United States of America, they match some percentage of the money you put into your 401k. So give you an example. Let's say your company says they match the first $2,000 that you put into your 401k. That means at the end of the year, they're going to give you $4,000 or whatever at the end of the year. So in other words, imagine if I said, hand me $2,000 on Valentine's Day, okay? And I would give you $4,000 or whatever on Christmas Day. Name one of you that would not take that deal. That is essentially the way the 401k match works or whatever. Many employers give you a certain percentage of whatever money that you invest into your 401k for free. And it is crazy to me how many Americans that I run into who do not take full advantage of this free money. One surefire sign of a financially illiterate person is that they don't take full advantage of the free money, once again, free money that is given to them by the employer and their employer-sponsored 401k match. And in conclusion, financially illiterate people, they do not read books. The average millionaire in America, everybody, reads 52 books per year. The average American reads 1 book per year. There are no more secrets to being wealthy. There are no more rules of the millionaires. All the secrets, people, are basically inside of books that you can buy on Amazon for less than $20. Your money will literally always meet you where your education level is. So I want you to check out one of my videos called The Miseducation of Kanye West. And in that video, I talk about basically some of the dangers about what happens when you are a financially incompetent person. Okay. So Kanye West essentially lost $2 billion in 7 days. I'm not gonna go into all the details in this particular video, so go check out my other one. But he lost $2 billion in 7 days because of terrible financial choices that he made. And one of the things that stands out to me about Kanye West is that he is famously on record, among some other stupid stuff that he said, he is famously on record of saying, I have not read a book in nearly 30 years. And to be honest with you, it shows. So for instance, let's say you want to send your kid to college for free. There's a book, Scholarships, The Golden Road to Financial Emancipation by Christopher Phelps. Read that book. Let's say essentially you don't have good people skills and you want to learn how to get people to like you. There's a book written by Dale Carnegie called How to Win Friends and Influence People. Let's say you want to scale the corporate ladder, but you don't look like the people around you or whatever. There's a book called Black Faces in High Places by Dr. Randall Pinga. Let's say you want to basically figure out just different ways to build financial wealth and basically to kind of learn how stocks and index funds and everything works. There's a very simple book or whatever I want you to read. And that book is called Money Master the Game by Tony Robbins. People, there are no more secrets. All the secrets now are in books. And one surefire sign of a financially illiterate person is that they don't read books and they don't take the time to teach themselves financial literacy. So everybody, it is literally impossible to build generational wealth if you are financially incompetent. It is literally impossible to build generational wealth or whatever if you are financially illiterate. Generational wealth, people, is built by making as much money as possible, spending less money than you make, and investing wisely. And if you are exhibiting many of the signs that I talk about in this particular list about being financially incompetent, I want you to reevaluate how you live your life, and I basically want you to change. Because at the end of the day, people, I do not want you to be another one of these Americans that works 50 years of your life, you retire basically with $10,000 in the bank, and you're homeless 7 years later. I don't want you to be that person, okay? Because unfortunately, that's what's happening to a lot of Americans today. So with that, everybody, this channel is all about making money. It's all about saving money. It's all about building generational wealth, and it's all about financially emancipating yourself from generational poverty. Please like, please comment, please subscribe, and please follow me on Instagram at @thereal_Financipation. My Facebook page is Financipation, and check out some of my my e-products below as well, okay? And additionally, I also have a financial blog that's gonna be coming out soon. So once again, everybody, it's your boy Chris. I thoroughly enjoy giving you guys free content. Please like, please comment, please subscribe, and it's your boy. I'm out, okay? Take it easy, everybody. I'm out. Peace.